I got to I got to see like some kind of thing that went down the other day with Candace Owens and this whole thing with her. And you know what? You know what? I think it's fucking hilarious. I'm not gonna lie, it's fucking hilarious. They, they're like, oh, she's like, you know, she says talks about how Hitler's good for people, was good for Germany, and I'm just like, okay, is this the same Hitler that I read about in high school? Is this the same Hitler that I read about when I read Mein Kampf? Is this that same Hitler? Because if this is the same Hitler I'm thinking about, okay, if this is the same Hitler I'm thinking about, that Hitler was not good, not even for himself. I mean, really. And now she's like defending her statements, claiming that, you know, everyone's taking it so far out of context. And I'm like, I don't think they're taking it out of context. You literally said that Hitler was good for Germany. I mean, you literally said that, and you're like, well, in a nationalist kind of setting. It's like, okay, I don't even think that's even correct. I mean, for fuck's sake, nationalism should never have been wrapped up into what he was doing. Okay, he had a personal vendetta, and he went to Sate. Okay, he was a monster. He wasn't even a fucking human. He was a fucking monster. And this doesn't help the right's case against the left. If you think about it, because the left's calling everybody on the right fucking Nazis, and it's like you just handed them the keys to show that they're right. I mean, how are you ass clowns and Turning Point USA going to be sitting back claiming the left is stupid and they're downplaying Nazism when you're saying basically Hitler did nothing wrong? Now here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. On 4chan, the whole Hitler done nothing wrong thing, that was basically a way to rile up lefties. That's all it was. It had no other purpose besides that. Just to rile up the lefties. They didn't have any other reason to do it besides pissing those people off because, you know, 4chan is like the masters of trolling, okay? They just are. So, they basically... Thank you for joining the one person who's watching right now. They basically were like, the trolls of the internet. They troll everyone. They troll everything. They raid Twitch streams. They raid videos. For fuck's sake, man, this is what they do. This shouldn't be a calling card to start and say, you know, well, maybe they're right. You know, maybe Hitler didn't do anything wrong. And I'm just like, no! No, 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 no. Hell no, no, he did a lot wrong. I mean, for fuck's sake, he paid Jewish people to sell their people to him, basically, as informants, and then he turned around and put those same people in internment camps. Okay, and then you got all the medical experiments and the nuclear experiments that he did on people. You know, it's like, you what are you doing? You're doing no different what the left does when they call people Nazis now. You're making it not even have any weight anymore. You know, and the worst part is if we stop caring about what monsters like him and Stalin did, we end up trying to adapt to their philosophies because, okay, well, maybe they weren't such a bad guy. You know, no, you don't do that. What the hell? You just don't do that, okay? I'm sorry, you just don't do that. You don't downplay those kind of things. You don't try to make light of those kind of situations. That's just stupid. Christ almighty, that's just stupid. Oh man, but you know, not too many people are gonna agree with it. Not too many people are gonna like, you know, say, oh no, you're taking it out of context and that's not what she meant. And it's like, well, what did she mean? Because she clearly plainly said that he was good for Germany. I mean, Merkel's not even good for Germany. Okay, she's not even good for Germany. And it's like, you're over here like, well, you know, I'm not being partisan about this. I'm being like objective about it. I mean, you can't I can't look at something like that, what that man did, and be like, okay, he was nationalist, and he was good for his country. Like, no. No, it was not good for his country. I mean,
Time
the
is
illness
money,
he
friend.
had in his country is the reason why he sought out to conquer other countries with it. You know, it's the same thing. He wanted the rest of the European world,
Right
the rest
back.
of the known world, the rest of that part of the world to be Germany. You know, and
Ah,
that's
I've
not
been
okay
expecting
either
you.
way. I mean, what we saw with the rest of the world and him doing those things was basically okay was basically him doing what he did in Germany. You know, that's what we saw. We didn't see anything different. It was the same thing. And to say that he was a good person, that's just or just good for Germany. That's just stupid. Why would the hell would Candace say something like that? That's oh my god. I mean, and if you look at her eyes when she says it, like there's a video, the video's out there. Okay, if you look at her eyes when she says it, she's like looking around the crowd, saying like that look, like that paranoid look, like, oh please, don't let none of these people attack me for this. Please don't. I couldn't, you know, I couldn't help, I couldn't deal with it. Please don't let these people attack me. You know, she pretty much had that look on her face, like she was just confused and scared and like, what the hell? You know, I've seen it a lot with a lot of lefties though. Like if you watch a lot of these left videos where these SJWs freak the fuck out and they're trying to justify what they're saying and they're looking all over, they have like this bewildered look on their eyes, like they're trying to find something to justify it. And since they're trying to find something to justify it, they get that, they have that look like, oh god, what the hell am I saying? Is this right? It's like a confused look, you know. And Candace had the same look in her face when she said that, and I was just completely, I was completely blown away to see that. I was like, oh my god, she has the same damn look as these SJWs. She's lost. She's completely confused. She doesn't even know where she stands anymore. You know, it's like, how do you feel to know that you do, and then she doubles down on it, and I'm like, how are you double downing this? How can you double down on that? You know you're wrong. Just say, I was just go ahead and say, okay, I was wrong. I said the wrong thing, and I shouldn't have used it. I mean, come on. It's like you got like this whole thing where it's just ridiculous. I mean, how do you? Maybe if somebody knows how someone can be okay with that, you know, that would be great. You know, because I'd like to know how anyone can actually just say, well, you know, it's nuanced, and you can't understand it because you're not nuanced enough. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that. I don't think it's got anything to do with nuancing. I'm a pretty laid back, nuanced guy you'll ever meet, but I don't see, you know, how that's nuanced that she just like completely said, you know, Hitler did nothing wrong. You know, and I'm not even sure if Candace even knows that. I mean, she know what she should do. You know, I don't know if Candace Owens ever watches this or any one of her affiliates watch this. I'll tell you right now. How about this? How about you sit back and just say, "Look, I was trolling. I'm sorry. I didn't. I trolled everyone. I wasn't being serious. It was a silly gesture." That would save her right now because, you know, like I said, you know, 4chan does this shit a lot. So this would literally look like to the internet community, oh, okay, she was just trolling. She was just doing what 4chan does. You know, but now she's like, no, I stand by my comments, and I'm like, oh, okay. So basically, what we got this is we got Candace over here being proud that, you know, Hitler was good for Germany, like the lefties are proud to think that Stalin was good for fucking Russia. You know, so We've got like Stalin versus Hitler now, you know, and it's just, oh god, it's ridiculous. I'm glad that I'm a free thinker and I vote for what I believe is right and policies that I think are okay. Even though I know I know downright that half the time politicians don't even do half the things they say they're going to do, and it's really ridiculous. But politically wise, I guess on the political spectrum, I'm more like of a centrist, or more centrist, more right to the center, because I am kind of conservative. I am really conservative about that. But I don't hinder. I'm not the kind of conservative that's like, oh no, you shouldn't be cussing or anything of that nature. No, I don't give a rat's ass about that. But you know, it just, oh god, it's like, how do you? It's not like how do you live with yourself. It's like how do you even look back on that and just be like, oh, that's okay. It's like now you sound like a lefty. That's the worst part. Candace Owens is showing her leftist side of all this, and I just think that's just ridiculous. It's like you're showing your whole leftist approach to things that you came from. You know, maybe your red pill's wearing off there, Candace. You might need to take another one. Just you know, I'm just being funny. Okay, I'm being funny. Please, I don't sponsor people taking pills. Don't do it. It's bad for you. But anyway, I'm like, I really don't get it. I don't understand how anyone can just be okay with that. I mean, I watched a lot of ABO for the longest time, and then ABO all up in Candace is like, ABO, you should like speak out against this. But you know what? He's probably not going to, because probably he's going to use the whole excuse, well, I'm a higher thinking person, so I don't have to be upset about this. It's like, you should be upset about this because Candace is doing exactly what the left does. The right's not the left, okay? We shouldn't be trying to, the right should not be trying to, like, mirror the left. We should be trying to do better than that, because they are a bunch of deranged lunatics right now. You know, and we got Candace over here like, well, let me just try this out and see how this works, you know? It's like, yeah, I just sat on my back. It's like, basically, like, I just sat on the toilet one afternoon, and I thought, you know what would be really great? You know what really was really great? Hitler was great. He gets so much work for doing it. It's like one of those kind of things you have, like, in the shower, and then you go, wait, that's fucking insane. What the hell am I thinking about here? You know, it's like, yeah, it's just basically what it is. And, oh god, I don't get it. I was like, I really don't understand how people, oh man, how do you do that? And just be like, I'm okay with this outcome. How? Why? You know? Oh man. Very googly moogly. We got so much stupid shit going on these days with these people, and that's one of them. So, you know, and I always said before, you know, I never once said that I'm like a huge right winger. I never once said I was. Okay, I find it very difficult to say that, knowing what little things I do know about how the government works and whatnot. I don't ever say I'm a huge left winger either, a leftist or anything of that nature, because I never really stood with the Democrats on anything for as long as I can remember, because a lot of their ideas basically weren't really unifying people. It was more of, you know, breaking people down and trying to follow all the keep Americans. You know, that was definitely didn't seem right, okay, in any kind of fashion. I always tell my friends, you know, I'm just like, you know, we're all Americans. We're not like this, I'm a black American, I'm a white American kind of thing. No, we're all Americans. That's plain and simple. That is our race, America. American, you know, that is our race. There is no dividing lines. I don't really like that shit. Is that, to me, that's just a waste of time. It's just a way, in my opinion, you know, for the government to keep us all divided. You know, that's just me, and that's what me and a lot of the right wingers like have in common. Is I can see that logic and I understand it. What we don't have in common is a lot of right wingers. They live in a fantasy world just like the leftists. I mean, they think this country can run without taxation without um, some governmental interference. They think everybody should just be able to just do whatever the hell they want, live about as anarchic as possible, and without the government involved, they can do whatever the hell they want. But the truth is, you can't really do that. There's got to be some form of law in the land, and you can't necessarily trust your neighbor to not do things that would be classified as inhumane. I mean, come on. Do you really do you think your neighbor is gonna your neighbor is gonna be like, hey, because there's no police in the world, I'm not gonna come into your house and take your shit. No, there's no one to stop him. No fear of jail time. No fear of any of that. They're gonna fucking do it. They're gonna do it. They got no cause to feel like they are going to go to jail or anything. Okay, and no taxes. I mean, who the hell is gonna pay for the roads? You think you can just Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make bona fide road repairmen, and they're gonna get paid by the state. And it's like, okay, I have someone actually tell me that they'll get paid by the state, and I'm like, well, then if there's no taxes, how the hell is the state gonna pay them? And you can't tell me, well, the state can just print money. And then I'm just like, no, that's what the left-wingers believe, and that causes hyperinflation. You can't do that. That's terrible. It's like, it's like you got socialism and socialism light, or communism and communism light. And it's just, oh god, they're so stupid. They really have no idea on how to fix any of this. They're like a greased up blind man in the dark, who's just bumping and running into things. And well, you're wrong because you don't agree with me, and you're wrong because you won't agree with me. You're un-American because you don't agree with that's their outlook on everything, and they don't really see the real truth behind it. And that is, a lot of these things were plentifully thought out. They were plentifully thought out by our forefathers. I don't agree with taxes. I'm not going to agree with it. I hate the fact that we get taxed because, again, we shouldn't be taxed based off the Constitution. But I understand this necessary evil because without it, we wouldn't have half the things that we currently have today. And I don't mean welfare. No, I mean like I said, again, the roads being paved, state legislation being able to basically pay teachers and other governmental officials that work. They got to make a wage for what they do too. I mean, it's not right to sit back and go, well, they should just work for free. That's just ridiculous. And no one's going to govern the damn state. No one's going to want to govern the state then. So, everyone has to receive some kind of equal recompense. You got to be paid for what you do. Even if it pisses off and rubs a few people the wrong way. But, these people don't even one of them actually think about this. I mean, you got one side, it's like, okay, well, we're going to take all the wealthy, and we're going to remove their wealth and give it to everyone else. And I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't work because that doesn't entice anyone to want to become wealthy. You're not going to make anyone want to be wealthy if everyone has the same money, which causes more problems. Business and manufacturers have a hard time reproducing funds to be able to repair their buildings or expand their businesses. You have what happened in Venezuela. And then on the right, it's like, no taxes. Okay, no taxes means the government doesn't exist. People have to judge each other, which is fine and all, and until you get some, new government that spawns out of nowhere, which is basically, I come and I do what the fuck I want, and you don't like, and if you don't like it, I guess you're just, gonna have to be destroyed. And yeah, you can call me crazy and say, well, that's not how it works. That's not how it's supposed to go down, but unfortunately, that's the way that's the way it'll hit. Because you're always going to have that one person. There's always that one person. And that's what these people aren't taking account of. There's always that one person.
Talk to me.
That's a maniac.
Keep it real.
Okay? That's literally a fucking maniac. And this motherfucker is going to be the guy who basically throws a wrench into everything you've done. And that's the truth. He's going to throw a wrench into everything you've done. He or she, doesn't matter who it is. Okay? They're going to throw a wrench into what you've done, and then you're going to sit back and be like, okay, well, we didn't expect this to happen. Of course not, because you lived in your own little fantasy world. No different from me playing these video games, playing video games. They live in their own little fantasy worlds where they're always right, and they cannot be contested because they're always right. And that's just so stupid. Yeah, that's really, really, really stupid. And like I said, I thought a lot of these right-wing channels I was watching was very open-minded and very, very straightforward. Okay, but I'm realizing that a lot of these right-wingers now are like rhinos. Rhino, I guess the old term is rhino Republican. Like they're for the people, but they're not, kind of thing. And that's the really terrible outcome. I hope in 2020, okay, for 2020, I do hope that Trump will win one more time, only because of the fact that only because, not because I'm an always Trumper, okay? Only because I love watching how the government gets revealed because he's president. Just because he's president, he has proven to the American people that 90% of the conspiracy theories we have about the government was right. And I think the longer he's in office, the more their dirty laundry gets aired. And the more their dirty laundry gets aired, the more it comes out. So, in a way, I hope he stays in office for one more term, just to pull more of it out of him, until people have had enough of this crap, and then they want to put somebody in office that's after him that will, basically they start electing people who will get the job done. See, in the 90s and 80s, we kept spreading the ideas that your vote didn't count, your vote didn't do this, your vote didn't do that, and being that I was a late 80s baby, okay? Being that I was, I got to grow up in the 90s, and I saw a lot of it. Your vote didn't matter. The government was just going to do what the hell it wants anyway. And we had a lot of pessimism with that, in those days. And because of that, people didn't vote, based off of policies. And Donald Trump was the first time that someone voted based off of policy. The people voted. Donald Trump had a mix of 90s Democrat and 2000 Republican. Okay, so basically, in a way, you could think of Donald Trump as a centrist. Donald Trump was basically a centrist running, because a lot of people don't remember this. When he first signed up, he was a Democrat. He first signed up as a Democrat on the ballot ticket. And during the midpoint of the race, he was like, I really don't like the way they think. So I'm going to run Republican. He switched sides. A lot of people don't seem to remember that. Donald Trump switched sides. And when he switched sides, it was very confusing. Because now he's running as a Republican. And he's like, well, I can't do this again, so I'll stay as a Republican for now. And, I'll run with my ideas. And that's all he did. He just ran with his ideas. And that's kind of why he won the election. It's not because of, Russian collusion and all this other shit. No, it was mostly because of the fact that Donald Trump, he spoke the centrist stance. And that's why. It had nothing to do with anything else. Okay? And people just don't seem to want to remember that. They don't want to think about that. They're like, well, he won because Make America Great Again, or, he's appealed to all this. No, he's a fucking centrist. He's always been a centrist. He's running on platforms that the left and the right can't agree on. I mean, look at this. He's equally got right-wingers. He's got left-wingers. He's got both of them going down his throat with both barrels, because he's not for or against any of it. The man is literally doing what's best for the country. And that is what's got them all ruffled up, because it's not like he's taking a stance for one person. And it's not. I'm not gonna say it's this chess game bullshit. No, it's more along the lines that Donald Trump is doing what's best for America, even if it ruffles up some right wingers' feathers or ruffles up some left wingers' feathers. Because there's a whole bunch of extra shit that gets played and involved with. My dad, backstory before I even get into any of my tirades about the government. Okay, my father, he was ex-military, he was in special programs, things of that nature. Yeah, I guess you'd say he was a specialist. What he was. He basically was a cleanup crew for the government. Him and his team was sent down into places to dispose leaders and things of that nature. Okay, my father did this because of the fact that it would keep me out of the military. It would keep me and my sister out of the military and forever from ever being drafted. Because we were of close relationship to him, and for the things that he did, he'd be too dangerous to, you know, one to deal with. So I kind of got a lesson growing up from him about what the government was like, you know, how deceptive they are. And I want to tell everybody out there who you know, all you right wingers who are starting to abandon Trump. Let me tell you something. There might be more at play here, okay? I mean, think of it this way. You think Robert Mueller, not Robert Mueller, but what the fuck's his name? Was it Roger or something? Well, it was one of the confidants, one of the campaign managers of Trump that just recently got arrested and released. The whole catch and release thing. It's like, you don't think that's not what ended the government shutdown? That's exactly what ended the government shutdown. They attacked somebody Donald Trump knew just to get him to bend the knee, basically. It's like, you know, if you don't bend the knee, we'll show you how powerful we really are. We'll do what we have to do. You know, I know that sounds like some tinfoil hat shit, but Nancy Pelosi's been in the government since the 90s and 80s, where a lot of that shit was happening. So, yeah, say what you want about it, but, you know, tinfoil hat it as much as you want, but the fact that it still remains that a lot of these people that are in government right now know how to do this. They know how to play this. They know how to basically get leverage on people. And I'm willing to say, don't rule out the idea that these politicians who despise Trump aren't doing something to, you know, grease his hinges so he'll do what the hell they want. Don't think for a second that that's not what's going on. Okay? Because the more you try to lie to yourself and tell yourself that's not what's going on, that's exactly what's going on. Because they're willing to do this shit. They will do this shit to get what they want out of somebody. So trust me, there's a lot more going on. Okay, you can blame it on his libtard daughter. Yeah, that's a good start. I mean, she could be very well known. But, you know, you can blame it on that if you want. You can blame it on, you know, as the old, as that one lady song, blame it on the rain. Yeah, yeah. You know, you can do that if you want. But it's not going to stop the fact that they're doing what they're doing, okay? I always told my father, I said, Donald Trump is getting in the most dangerous, Donald Trump ever gets elected will be in the most dangerous position that any other politician will ever be, because of the fact how much power and control the rest of the government has. See, we have a system of checks and balances, but we don't have to, you know, we have a system of checks and balances and everything safe, but we don't have to, so we don't have to worry about the backroom deals. We should be worried about those more, because the backroom deals where, you know, Nancy and her cohorts all get together and why do Republicans join in and all this other shit, where they have their discussions and their meetings and shit where they talk about all these things they want to do with the country and whatnot, or how much dispositional distaste they have for Trump. They can coerce together to basically overthrow him at any point in time that they want to. Okay? The only reason why this whole investigation thing is going on right now is to basically cover up what the hell they're doing with like a sleight of hand trick. So, just for a minute, I mean, just humor yourself for a minute. What if there is a lot more going on than, you know, people claim the deep state, and I'm like, it wouldn't be that simple, because I've watched a lot of deep state videos. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a big conspiracy theorist, but I've watched a lot of deep state videos, and I don't believe that's exactly what's going on, because I don't think these politicians have a lot of depth. Okay, because think about it for a minute. They're not as smart as they claim to be. Okay, they're not as foxed as they claim to be. Okay, a politicians aren't that intelligent. They're actually people who have the gift of gab. They're kind of like a car salesman. They're not very smart. They just know how to sell you a dream that you know, they know you're not going to be, you would not naturally be willing to pay for. You know, they know this, okay? They're not very smart. They just know what they're doing. If you think about all the bills and policies they created in the last, couple of years, they don't seem like the works of a very intelligent being. They seem like the works of someone who doesn't know what the hell they're doing in their position. I mean, take Ocasio-Cortez for example. Bernie Sanders and all them sponsored. Come on, they know how dumb this girl is. They know how dumb this motherfucking girl is because she's just like them. She's an absolute reflection of that party, and they know this. Just like the Rhino Republicans, when what's his face was running against, I can't remember his name, against Obama. He was pretty damn stupid too. Okay, but he's the face of the Rhino Republicans. So you've got all that going. Don't think for a minute that these government officials are super, oh my god, intelligence. And there's 4D chess going on. No, it's not 4D chess. It's more like, I guess you would call ogre tactics. They're like, if you don't do what me want, me smash your head. You know, I mean, I always this way. It takes a unintelligent person to threaten with violence. It does an intelligent person to convince you to do what they want without having to be violent. Yeah, and that's the truth. So stop thinking they're not. For fuck's sake, you're giving them too much credit. They're not intelligent. I believe they're completely fucking stupid. I literally believe. I believe if you put them in an IQ test against a person with autism, that person with autism would probably blow them out the fucking doors because they're not that smart. If we gave every one of our politicians an IQ test and judged them fairly on it, I guarantee you would not find someone above 100 in there because they're not smart by any means. They're not intelligent because if you think about it, if they were intelligent, why would they want such division? Why would there need to be a two-party system if they were intelligent? They would know a two-party system is faulty. We only need a single party. We only need candidates to just run as themselves, not on a Republican platform or Democrat platform. No, they made it to a double platform because they're too dumb enough to come up with a good policy for their own. You know, they can't do it. They're too stupid. They can't come up with a good policy. So the view is they make two parties and go, this party believes in this party believes in this. And they're like, well, then there's the third party, which only believes in this. You know, this is what they got to stand for. You know, because that's narrow-minded thinking. That's why, in a way, I do in a way like Trump, because Trump isn't that narrow-minded with a lot of his policies. I mean, you can see with a lot of his policies, they're not just like super right-wing. You know, they're not super right-wing. They're more like somewhere in the middle. He does a little bit of right-wing stuff. He agrees with a little bit of left-wing stuff. You know, and it's the truth. He's not like ultra mega, right-wing. I'm a right-winger because I'm Donald Trump, and I rolled the Republican Party because, I'm right-winger. That's got nothing to do with that. It's got nothing to do with that at all. Donald Trump is literally in the middle with a lot of things. He's trying his best to do what's good for America, which also proves how smart he is. Okay? But even though he's a smart man, he's still prone to compassion. He's got family, he's got all these things. He's got a multi-billion-dollar business which he's proud of. But when you got some left-winger, leftist government official comes into his house and tells him, look, if you don't end this shutdown and whatnot, we're gonna put the people you care about behind bars, or give him some kind of ultimatum. Of course, Donald Trump is gonna bend the knee. Of course, he's gonna buckle. If you put yourself in his situation for a minute and think, okay, well, if you were in his situation, if you're in his shoes, okay, and you had your family, and somebody you're supposed to be working, one of your coworkers walks up and tells you, hey, if you don't pass this bill, if you don't pass this or pass that, we're gonna kill you and your. We're not gonna kill you. We're gonna kill your entire family, and freeze all your assets. You know, we'll bring you under an investigation that'll make it look like you did, and you know they got the power to do this. What do? Do you bend the knee and do what they want, or do you, stand your ground and call their bluff? I mean, yeah, I was all for him calling their bluff. I'm not gonna lie. I was all for them calling his bluff. I was all for him calling their bluff. Okay, because I don't believe they have the balls to do it. Because in the way information gets shared these days, no. But if I was in his shoes, I probably would try to buckle or bend a little bit just to give myself some breathing room for a minute so I can come up with a plan. Okay? And I think that's why he did what he did. It's not that he's coming up with a plan to outfox them. It's that he's giving himself a little bit of breathing room so he's got a chance to do something. Which he did with his State of the Union. His State of the Union, he literally brought out their ugly face. He made them prove themselves as to what they really stand for. They're not for blacks working. They're not for any of that. He did that with his State of the Union address. Okay, so that in a way kind of proves what I'm saying here. It's not 4D chess. No, it's more of, I guess you'd call it schoolyard tactics, where if one guy calls you a doo-doo head, so you're gonna make him look like a doo-doo head instead of you being a doo-doo head. It's kind of like that right now. In politics, it's mildly mildly hilarious and severely amusing. And it's great to see this go on. I mean, it really is. It's really fucking great. I don't think there's ever been a good time in politics until now, because you got all this shit going down, and it's like, oh god, this is fucking hilarious. They don't want troops out of Iraq and Syria. They're trying to convince people that they'd be pro-war. They don't want the border wall built. They don't want blacks working. It's like what I said before when it comes to running against Donald Trump. If you're going to beat Donald Trump in 2020, you're going to have to make people believe that jobs are bad, war is good, and, all this other stuff. And I highly doubt you're going to be able to do that. People may be a little bit dirt in their heads in some positions, but I can promise you they're not that gone in their head. They're not that gone. They're not that gone. They're pretty gone though. I mean, for fuck's sakes, there's some of them that actually believe. I mean, there's some that believe that Ocasio-Cortez is like the most intelligent woman on the planet. So I mean, you do got some that are, pretty dir. But I don't think they're all dir. I really don't think they all are. I think they just don't know what to do right now because they're so fucking confused. They want to stand for certain rights. They want to stand for this. They want to stand for that. But all those things are not in the right. They're all wrong. So it's like, well, what do I stand for? And it's starting to prove that the American mindset, the American way, is to stand for yourself. And these people don't know how to do that. They've been told all their lives, I especially for one, was told a lot during my life, that I can't stand for myself because it's bad. All men are dogs, all men are this. I was always told this for a long period of time, and I really didn't know where I stood with a lot of things until I reached an adult, and I was like, I'm going to stand on the side of what is right, not what people say is right, but what is. There's a big difference there. There's a huge difference there. What is, something that's good for society as a whole, something that's good for everyone as a whole. It doesn't really matter what it is or what it's about. You gotta realize that. And sometimes what that boils down to isn't something you may personally like, but it does help the grand scheme of things. And I think that's what's going on here with Donald Trump, is that it's the grand scheme of things. You know, it's really, that's all it is. He's trying to do what's best for America as a whole instead of playing like the Democrats do and go, well, identity politics, you know, identity politics. You know, instead of just doing that, he's kind of sort of mixing it up. And in a way, that's a good thing because he's not just keeping them on their toes. He's getting them to like reveal themselves to everyone, and it works because they have no other platform. I was telling one person one time, I was telling this other person I was talking to on Twitter one time, that it was like, okay, well, what he's doing is it's not 4D chess. It's more like he's taking away their platform. See, Democrats always talked about the wall and promised the wall that got them votes. He takes away the wall from them. They don't have that anymore. They talk about black unemployment and how they're going to fix it and all this other stuff. He takes that away from them. They don't have that no more. All they have now is that wall and illegal immigration. That's all they've got. That's the only platform they have to run on now. And he's pulling the rug out from underneath them, basically. They don't have a platform to run well. And so in 2020, the only thing they can resort to is the gender dysphoria, the other politics and policies of,
money, friend.
You know, like Ocasio-Cortez and all them. They only have those policies now. They don't really have a debate of policies for themselves anymore. They don't have any policies that they themselves can stand on because they're all taken from them. They have no more policies. So it's like, what do you stand on? What do you do now at this point? So now the Democrats, having like 30 plus years of running with the wall, running with black unemployment, running with all these ideas, they officially have nothing to run with. And like I said, the only thing they're going to have now is, again, like I said before, is trying to explain to people in 2020 why them winning the House, why them winning the presidency is good in losing jobs, not having work, outsourcing labor. They're going to have to find some way to explain how that's good, and they're not going to be able to do it, and they know they're not going to be able to do it. Of course, they don't want to admit that, because if they admit to it, it means they've got to come up with a whole new platform, and they don't want to do that. They don't want to come up with a new platform, and I don't think they actually will. In truth, I think they're going to keep clinging to the same shit Ocasio-Cortez is, and they're going to expect that to work, and it's not going to work. Unfortunately, it's not going to work. And you see, here's the thing. Like I said again, we live in an age where everyone can see everything. I mean, anyone who's got a lick of sense is going to be able to look up countries like Venezuela and other socialist countries and see how they're playing out. Those countries are failing. They're in complete dissension. Okay? And people are going to see that. They're going to get to see this. It's not going to be hidden from anyone anymore. It's not like they can't sit there and say, well, we can do socialism here. It'll work. It'll because I mean, they're not doing real socialism. They can say it all they want. But it's not going to work. It's not going to work because people can see it. That's why I literally say that, people aren't as dumb as, we like to make them out to be. People can see these things. And it's only the minority we get to see online because, again, honest people don't really give a flying fuck about politics. They really don't. Honest to God, people really don't give a flying fuck about politics. They just want to hope that they get something out of it. Something that helps them. They don't give a little shit about politics until it comes to that. And you can't really sell them something when they can look at it. The whole just Google. I say just go. I say just DuckDuckGo it because DuckDuckGo is not so partisan or biased like Google is a lot of things. Anti, which I'm not going to get into this stream because I don't think anyone really wants to hear my opinion on those. But it's the fact of the matter is they don't really have anything to stand on. So, you know, it's just, like, they're not gonna win this match. And again, that, like I said, that's just a fragment. That's just a showing of what their imagination is like. You know, even on the left and the right, they're both kind of fucked up. They both live in a fantasy world where this one works, this one doesn't. You know, I'm not anti-gun. I'm pro-gun, so that's what me and Red have in common. I believe a gun, I believe people deserve the right to be armed. I don't give a damn if it's a rifle, a sword, axe. You wanna walk around in full Kevlar or some shit and carry a fucking katana, yo, right the fuck ahead. I don't care. Okay? It's when you start using that object to cut people down who don't do anything wrong, who haven't done anything to you. When you start, you know, robbing stores, you know, public decapitations and shit, that's when it's gotta come to. That's when your right has been forfeited. You as a person. Okay? I've always been fascinated with medieval things and things of that nature. That's why I play these kind of games. You know, I've always been fascinated with it. But I'm not going to sit back and tell someone they can't, you know, arm themselves, because that's never panned out well in any culture or any society. And I grabbed that quest twice. Derping real hard, man. But, you know, I literally believe that we as humans are entitled to some innate rights, and one of those innate rights is the right to defend ourselves against any other obstacle, whether it be the weather, other humans, animals. You know, we have the right to defend ourselves. So, in my opinion, if you're going to ban weaponries and all this other shit like England has, you're just gonna have more problems anyway.
The winds guide you.
I mean, a person's gonna kill you regardless if they have a gun, a knife, or something of that nature. I mean, there was a man that was called the Strangler for the longest fucking time, and all he did was literally strangle people to death with his bare hands. He literally just choked people to death with his bare hands, and it's like, you think, do you really think that taking away guns and weapons, no, that's not going to do anything. We need to, as humans, identify the real problem here. And unfortunately, these politicians, these anti-gunners, they're not really seeing that. You know, they're not really seeing that. They're seeing more of, well, I have, you know, the right to live and not be afraid, and Sandy Hook and all this other happy horse shit. And it's like, well, I hate to bring this to you, but, you know, that kid would have done it regardless. I mean, I don't know if anybody remembers, you know, I mean, we were talking about the Columbine shooting and all that other shit, but nobody really wants to bring up the fact that there was cases where even bombs were put in schools. I mean, people are making homemade bombs and literally sticking them into school, in lockers and shit. We don't talk about that, do we? Of course not, because guns, right? Oh man, it's just, yeah, we just live in a really awkward time where people are just so stupid. God, they're so stupid. They all believe in something that doesn't really fucking help them. It doesn't even help them, even a tiny bit. You're like, well, but my anti-gun. No, keep your guns, keep your weapons, for fuck's sake. Defend yourself. I mean, really, fucking defend yourself, man. And, oh man, and it doesn't help that, you know, we had all this, you know, the rise of MGTOWs and the rise of fucking feminism. You know, we got the rise of all this other stuff that's, again, very bad ideas. Just very bad ideas. They're like, well, you know, women should have rights. They have rights. They have more rights than anybody else. I mean, really. Any divorced male can tell you that. And no, and yes, I know it sounds like I'm talking from a MGTOW's perspective, but my father was a divorcee, and I saw what it did to him. Okay, I'm firsthand experience with that, so I kind of know, and I kind of understand it a little better than most. I don't think women need any more power. What I think needs to be done, there needs to be a balance of power. Okay. As we can see, when power goes mad, like with what New York did with their Abortion Act, and Virginia's done with their Abortion Act, you know, power. This is what happens when power's gone mad. You know, it's when you got a power mad individual who wants more power for things, and it's wrong. Yes, a woman has a right to do whatever she wants with her body. There's nothing wrong with that. But there comes a time when your body is no longer just your body. You know, I mean, that's another thing. That's another thing, you know, I have to bring up to these people who get on my case about it. It's like there comes a point in your life where your body is just no longer your body anymore. You're sharing it with someone else. You know, and you should be willing to take care of it because you're sharing it with someone else. And that's where I'm majorly conservative about. I don't think abortion is a good thing. I mean, even with rape, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that too, but to me it's like, I look at it this way, some of the greatest conquerors, warriors, and rulers of this world were the products of rape. Literally, a lot of them were.
Go get him, champ.
A woman decided that she was strong enough to raise that child to be even better than the man who did what he did to her. Okay, and to me, that is real strength. Okay, when you can look in the face of that child and you know who put it there.
Hit the road.
Okay, but despite that bastard, you're gonna raise this child to be 100% better than him. You know, that's to me that is. Now I'm not saying the rapist gets off free.
Get lost, will you?
No. I believe a woman should really take that. I believe rapists should be castrated. Genital mutilation for those people. Really. You know, that's just my opinion. No. But then again, we also got this new culture, which even though I do have a stance on that, this new culture we got coming out.
Hello.
There's this whole thing where, you know, people are kind of destroying the idea of what rape is. And
see you around.
That's just fucking terrible.
It's my way or the highway, pal.
We should be, you know, doing that. I think we need to.
Good day to you.
We need to lay off that, you know, because we're literally making rape look.
Safe travels.
We're literally making rape look like it's a fucking joke. And unfortunately, that's not helping at all. We're making rape look like a joke, and it's not helping. So I think we literally need to.
Big shot, huh?
We literally
this
need
gig
to
ain't
stop
so bad.
That. Okay, that needs to be stopped too. You know, and like I said, we're making that look like a joke. We're making Nazis look like a joke. I mean, in 2019, it seems like we're making Nazis, rapists, and Hitler look like a fucking joke. Or what the crimes of Stalin look like a fucking joke. And I guess maybe it's okay because I do like humor, but I don't think we should downplay all these things too much. We should stop downplaying a lot of this and start understanding exactly what it is. Because, I mean, you got a few generations coming out, Generation Z, who's, like, becoming stupidly fucking conservative because of the fact of what's going on right now. They see it and they think it's edgy just to be conservative. And they got the whole wrong idea. They got the whole wrong idea of what being conservative is now. You know, I think we just need to stop. Just flat out fucking stop this shit. It's not doing this any good. It's making it all look stupid. It's really downgrading the way the human race looks. I personally just think it just needs to be cut and dry, and then it needs to be over. That's personally my opinion, and I really don't know how to get anything separate besides, you know, it's got to stop. Fuck now. I heard Blizzard laid off a whole bunch of people recently. Or Activision Blizzard wanting to lay off a whole bunch of people because they're not making very much money. So I'm like, that's terrible. Like, you guys are making more money. I wonder why. Warned you for a long period of time that microtransactions. Yeah, I love microtransactions. You know why I love microtransactions? Because they really, really bring out corporate greed. They really bring out corporate greed. They show exactly how greedy corporations are. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is their right to make money. It is their right to make money. Don't get me wrong. Okay? But when you start trying to make money, make even more money off of things, yeah, that's not good. You're like literally trying to make more money than you should off of something instead of trying to make more things. I don't see the, like, let's take up, I think the greatest business fail model, I like to call it a business fail, is with, like, Daybreak Games. Daybreak Games got every one of SOE's titles at the end of their life expectancy. Okay, Daybreak is having this great opportunity to learn from Sony's crazy-ass monetization, decided to enforce their monetization down to the point where games like, I don't know if any of you have actually played DC Universe or anybody actually plays it. If you play DC Universe, you will know that, you know, there is a really, really nasty monetization in that game, where even to the point where your inventory and amount of cash you're able to have is monetized. Okay, so I think that, you know, once, you know, that kind of monetization is,
Go!
in essence, greed. It's just straight up greed. They only want to make money because they're making money. You know, they want to make money. They just want to make money, and I understand that. You want to make money off of a game. But if you're a company, like, say, because in Future Pretenses, I got a feeling World of Warcraft is probably going to get sold to somebody else, because Activision Blizz isn't making as much money off of it as they would like. But if it happens,
What's up?
okay, if it happens, the company that would take it over, what do you think killed this game? What do you think killed it? Do you think it was poor graphic design, or poor that design, poor this design? I don't think so. If you pay attention to what killed the game and listen to your community, you'll understand that it was literally monetization that killed games. People don't want to pay $60 for an expansion, or pay $60 for something in the game, and then have to, you know, pay $20 or $30 to get the rest of it. And that's what's going on with a lot of these video games nowadays. You know, not just World of Warcraft, not just the Daybreak games, but ESO's doing it, and it's the same shit. It's like, how can you expect people to just not want? How do you expect people to want to play your fucking game if they gotta throw money at it every so often? You know, and at times there's some things that even some people can't get because they don't have, you know, they don't have it. So like I said, I literally look at it this way. I don't see the point in paying money to play it. I really don't. I know I play World of Warcraft, but I usually farm for my gold for tokens. I'm not gonna lie. I started farming gold for tokens, and that's what I do. I don't really pay to play World of Warcraft. But it's the thing though. You gotta sit back and really pay attention to what kills the game before you decide to. I mean, people just naturally are not going to be interested in spending shit piles of cash on a game like it's some kind of trader collection kind of thing. They're not going to want to do that. I don't give a damn. You're not really going to want to do that. Why is these fires again? This is so cool. But yeah, no one really wants to do that. It's like, I mean, I guess the best concept is a car. Think of it this way: buy a car. Do you want to buy a car that you're gonna have to, like, once you fix one thing, you gotta fix another thing right afterwards? No, you want to be able to fix one thing, pay money one time for one part or one thing, and fix that thing, and it be done and ready to go. You're not gonna want to buy the car, fix one problem, and then the next day there's a new problem. And then once you fix that problem, another problem springs up, and then this problem springs up, that problem springs up, and it consistently springs up more problems. At that point in time, you've done more than a car than you did originally paying for it. And of course, I know your logic would probably be, then just don't buy that car. Well, you know, sometimes some people don't have a choice in that when it comes to that, but that's the point. You know, I mean, you don't want that. You don't want that. Nobody wants that. And it's the truth, you know. It's just the truth. It's flat out. There's got to be some truth in the way you do things. And most of the time, people just don't want to deal with stuff that they don't want to deal with.
What? On your way. You looking at me? Don't try anything stupid. Go! Go! GTL, friend. Gambling, tinkering. They seen you. Off and away.
think I'm gonna end this stream with this. Thank you guys for listening to what I have to say, and if you like what you see here, please subscribe. You know, it would really make me feel like my channel's going somewhere if I got some subscribers. I know I talked a lot about heavy topics today, and you're more than welcome to critique me if necessary. But thank you all for watching in advance.